Well, hello there. Me again, your local neighborhood Spider-Man. I suppose you are wondering how I got myself into this mess? Ha! Well, let me tell you. I was at this party, and Dr. Octavius was there. He had two of his robotic legs 3 knuckles deep into Gwen, and I asked myself, Peter, why is it always you in the Oh, wait. I'm sorry, how very unprofessional of me. Sorry? This isn't the new Spider-Man table read. Then what the hell is this? Oh shit. I was meant to do 2 of these. Right, fine. But if I lose out on another superhero role, it'll be you that pays my next maintenance check. I've still not forgotten about Batman. Hello and welcome to part 2 of the Super Duper questionnaire episode thingy. This time, Rob was in charge of the questions. Oh God. I'm sure all will be fine. If you missed the first 5, head over to the variety show feed for those. But for the rest of you, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. I'm Batman. No, I'm Batman. No, I'm Batman. Yes, that's the one. How did I not get that? Fucking Michael Keaton.
Hello there. Welcome back to the Untitled Sci-Fi Show with me, Rob, and me, Rob. So my own, late at night one day. Those of you who also follow the variety show will notice that the last variety show was just Tom and I answering 5 questions that he wrote. And this episode of the Sci-Fi Show is going to be the same, but they're 5 questions that I'm asking. Sorry that it's not the normal stuff. It's not the film we promised and all that. We have completely misjudged holidays and times off and stuff, and we just weren't going to be able to do either show. But I hope these are good. I hope you like them, and be ready for a nice, long, massive rant from me about a recent experience with Amazon. It's just completely soured some really good news that I had that is relating to it. But you get my normal rants over on the Variety Show, along with Tom's. So, elephant in the room. Yes, I fucked my audio up last time. I was too close to the microphone, and I was just doing it in Windows Recorder, and I was doing it on the streaming PC, not the main PC. I'm now sat nicely back from the microphone, and I'm using Audition to do it, so I'm sorry, everybody. You should have heard the state of that audio before Tom got it, because how Tom's made it even bearable for anybody to listen to, I don't know. But that's what you get when you leave me alone with any of this stuff. I can't be left on my own. This is why I need Tom. Anyway, we're ranting. I'm ranting. Let's get on with the... is it the first question or is it the 6th question? First question. So that is a game that you never get bored of, one that you can and do always go back to. So for me, this is easy. I wrote the question. There's 2 of them. They're both N64 games. In my opinion, 2 of the best games ever created. As soon as I said N64, a lot of you are probably like, oh, he's going to say Ocarina of Time. Yep, that's one of them. Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. I remember SideQuest Mark had it first, and I would just watch him play it. And I was like, this is incredible. I've got to get this game. I don't even think I had an N64 at the time. This may have been the reason why I asked for one for this game. because I got this game with the console. One Christmas, I think. I think it was like a joint Christmas and birthday present. I can't really remember. I played that game a lot. My favourite version of it is on the 3DS because they just tidied up all of the kind of sharp edges, and it being on that smaller screen did really kind of just, modernize it a little bit. And the fact that you could take it anywhere. Oh my god. I never used the 3D on the 3DS because that would screw with my eyes, and plus it drained the battery. The same with Majora's Mask. Majora's Mask on the 3DS, I think, is the best version of that too. And the other one is Banjo-Kazooie. Oh my god, I love Banjo-Kazooie. I feel like I didn't need to explain what Zelda was. I think everybody who has even inkling of what a computer game is aware of Zelda, but it's kind of a role-playing game where you go around in dungeons, essentially. There's way more to it than that, but that's it. Banjo-Kazooie, 3D platformer puzzle game. If you've played any of the 3D Mario games like Mario 64, that's Banjo-Kazooie, but more. Whereas what Diddy Kong Racing was to Mario Kart, in my opinion, Banjo-Kazooie is to Mario 64. Just steps it up, adds extra things, whereas like Diddy Kong Racing added like a story mode. And I think Tom agrees as well, it's a better game. Some of the rubber banding was gone. It didn't feel as punished I always felt when I lost, except for the boss battles in Diddy Kong, when I lost a race, it wasn't because the computer was just like, oh no, you're losing this race. No matter what the scenario happens, you're losing, which is how I feel in Mario Kart. Diddy Kong wasn't like that. But I'm not talking about them, I'm talking about Banjo-Kazooie. Banjo-Kazooie added like learning moves and going back. Whilst Mario had different hats, flying, invisible, the stone one, and you had to go back. There was just something a bit different about the way Banjo-Kazooie did it, and just the music was great. The characters you met along the way were great, and it was not voice acted, but everyone had their own noise. The music is in my brain, it's just iconic. The music is just great. And what I used to do is I used to go back and I used to play this once a year. Once a year, without fail, I'd play it to completion, and it really was quite helpful when it came out on the Xbox Arcade, because then I could use my Xbox 360 and use a, kind of more newer controller rather than playing on the S64 all the time. And again, I actually think I prefer the 360 arcade version than the original, just because the controller is just a bit nicer, if I'm honest. And navigating camera with a second analog stick rather than the C buttons. Anyone who's played the N64 knows what I mean.
Hello, I'm back again, and I'm still on holiday, and I'm still recording in a kitchen, which sounds terrible, which means you're hearing all the echo. And as you can tell by my voice, I have a cold, which seems to be the thing that happens to you when you work far too much. You don't truly let yourself rest, and then when you go on holiday, your body starts to shut down. So that's totally on me, so my voice is a little bit off, so sorry, Rob. He's given me my 5 questions, and question number 1 was a game that you never get bored of, one that you can go and do always. Oh, hang on, Rob, how have you worded this? A game that you never get bored of, one that you can and do always go back to. Sorry, that makes sense. It's me reading it like an idiot. Well, we'll use your wording, like a retard. That's a really difficult one, and that's because there are so many good games. But I'm going to rule out anything modern, and by modern I'm going to say anything after, let's say, 2002, because although there have been good games after that point, I mean, GTA 5 is a great game. It's just not something that I care about. And for a game to be gone back to, for one that I want to replay, I kind of have to love it as well. It's not just got to be about it being a good game. I've got to be interested in everything about it. And modern games don't do that for me anymore. Sniper Elite is probably the closest series I'd say that I've enjoyed going back and playing. Otherwise, it's difficult. Even Helldivers 2. We had an immense amount of fun playing that all together. But I wouldn't go back to it now. So, I know that's not really answering Rob's question, is it? What would I go back to? Now, there's umpteen ZX Spectrum games, as you may have expected of me. Rapscallion, The Hobbit, Ghostbusters. Not necessarily brilliant games, but games that I love going back to and playing with and experimenting with. In fact, one definite contender is School Days on the ZX Spectrum. We never completed it as a kid, and I still haven't completed it as an adult. Pajama Armor, also one of those games that genuinely I think is amazing fun. And because of the limitations of the system, they had to do something to make the game interesting. But I'm not going to go with the ZX Spectrum era, because as much as I go back and play them regularly, it's only very short-lived. And this is where it kind of brings in really the difficulty. Do I go with something like Half-Life, which genuinely blew me away when I first ever played it, and that was the demo that came with PC Gamer? Do I go with Little Big Adventure, which is amazingly fond memories of playing with my friend Richard across the road and trying to work out what to do in that game, and it's still incredibly hard to this day. Do I go with Half-Life 2? And again, another amazing game. GoldenEye on the N64. There's so many to choose from, but I think I'm going to have to go with the original Tomb Raider on PlayStation and PC. Yes, I know it came out on Sega Saturn, Nokia N-Gage and all of those versions, but we're talking about what I would go back to. Now, I played Tomb Raider for the first time on a DOS installation at a friend called David's house, and we installed it on his Gateway 2000 PC, and we played the hell out of that one. We got, I think, all the way to the pyramids and the weird mummified monkey creature things, which probably freaked us out. We were probably about 12 at the time. And that was an amazing fun. And it is a toss-up between Tomb Raider and Tomb Raider 2. Tomb Raider 2, I remember reading Games Master and showing my brother, look, there's a second one out. And that evening, he suddenly had Tomb Raider 2. It was mind-blowing. But let's stick with the origin of the series, and that's going to have to be Tomb Raider 1. I have gone back and played it, and my prayers were answered, really, when it was re-released as a remaster, not a remake. And that remaster is genuinely perfect. The fact that you can change between original graphics and the new graphics doesn't matter to me. I could play in either of those modes. Although remastered, it is very pretty. What really mattered to me there was that the controls hadn't been touched. They were still the controls I grew up with, and my muscle memory went straight back to there. And as much as I've completed Tomb Raider twice since I got that on PlayStation 5, I will go back and do it again and again and again, because it was such a challenge of a game, and there was so much to it. I feel like I can go back and I get so much out of it each time I do. So yeah, there you go. Tomb Raider on PC and PlayStation.
Question 2. Same as the first one, but a film that you never get bored of. One that you can, let's say that again, a film that never, I've not wrote that very well. A film you never get bored of. One that you can and do always watch. I've got 4. All right, these fucking things. 4. 3 of them are all Lord of the Rings, obviously. How could anyone say they ever get bored of Lord of the Rings? Masterpiece. Just a pure fantasy. Pure good versus evil. Like, good like, evil tries to take over, but good prevails, and you see that right at the beginning, where the the armies of the elves and men are fighting against Sauron, and they defeat him, and what's his name, cutting Sauron's finger off with his sword. Okay, yeah, he eventually takes the ring for himself, but in the end, ultimately good wins. And it's just great. It's just, for me, it is, if you say, what is fantasy? Fantasy is Lord of the Rings. That's it. That's what fantasy is. In my head, anyway. And, you've got to watch it you've got to watch the extended ones, you've got to watch the super duper 4K, whatever. I think it's like 25 years old now or something, this film. And, like, you watch it now, and it still looks like it came out yesterday in my head. There are, like, Disney Marvel films with worse CGI than this. But when they use the CGI, they use it for the exact right times, and they do it so well. And you'll notice a lot of it is dark. You can get away with so much in film kind of computer stuff. Oh my god, my brain's not working. When it's dark, it's a bit more forgiving as long as you get the shadows all right. And Disney just fuck it up all the time. But Lord of the Rings, Wetterworks, I think is what they were called. Oh, incredible. And like, when you watch the Two Towers and the Orc army is attacking Helm's Deep, all of those people, like orcs, were obviously CGI and individually generated, and it's just like, it still now looks incredible. Like, you wouldn't know some of those scenes were CGI. I don't think, anyway. Maybe I just get lost in it, whatever. I think Lord of the Rings is brilliant, and if you haven't seen it, watch it. There's some, like, quote unquote fact I always tell people about it, like, Viggo Mortensen now is the age that Ian McKellen was when he played Gandalf. I don't actually know if that's true. I heard that somewhere. And now I spout it. It could be a load of fucking bollocks. I mean, at some point that's going to be true. Whether that's true right now, who knows? And the other one is Constantine, which is a film that my wife and I absolutely adore. I just got IMDb up over here. 2005, Constantine came out. Keanu Reeves. Pretty sure it's based on the graphic novels. He's a guy who's haunted as a child by being able to see kind of demons and ghosts and stuff, and it really tortured him. And whereas some people would, like, turn to God and, like, kind of do this righteous thing of helping people, he is helping people, but he's doing it because he wants to kill the fuckers. And because, like, I think the story, if I'm trying to remember the kind of backstory of it, is like, he attempted to commit suicide and it failed, which means he's now going to go to hell. I think that was what one of the backstories is, because of whatever it is. And I don't know. In Catholic religion, I don't know about going to hell if you commit suicide. I don't really want to talk about it. Anyway, that's a major plot point in this, because one of the characters does that. And then it's like her twin sister is like, no, my sister would never do that. She wouldn't want to go to hell, blah, 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 blah. And one of the things was, Constantine's soul is the only soul that the devil himself would come to Earth to claim. And as the story goes on, you see lots of fun stuff with that. And Lucifer is really well depicted in this by, let me do my best, Peter Storm there, I think you say his name is. And also Gabriel, Tilda Swinton is Gabriel in this. Oh, she's great. Rachel Weisz is in it. Charlotte Buff is in it too, actually. Drives around the taxi. Oh god, there's loads of people. Which now I can't remember. But anyway, it's a great film. Really, like, if you like your supernatural demons kind of stuff, with, you've also got to like Keanu Reeves, which I do. I understand some people say he's wooden. That might be something that TJ was. I'm not sure if TJ likes Keanu Reeves particularly much, but that's who he is. You go watch him and stuff. That's what you expect, and does it well. And I actually quite like it, and I like him. So Nicky no to you.
So Rob's asked me now a film that I never get bored of, one that you can and do always watch. So, a little bit of shameless sharing here. Channel84.co.uk, go to the blog section, choose the variety show, and go all the way to page 6, and you will find an article called TJ's Top Films by Year. And this was done back in 2022. And I promised I would update it every year. And there's 4 years missing from there. So that's 100% on me. But it does give me a list of all the films from 1984 all the way up to 2022. And they ranged from the no thanks films through to third, second, and first place for what I would choose. And yeah, I forgot how many of these films I do genuinely love. And I'm just looking through the list here, and I'm looking at the top spots thinking, what's the one film I would choose? And it's quite a simple one. And it's a very childish one. But before I get there, I guess really what I should do is just quickly run through some of the ones that I probably would have chosen, but for whatever reason I didn't. So let's go with, let's have a look here. 2001. I was just at college and I was trying to fit in this entire new world with new people. And out came The Fast and the Furious. Yep, you heard it. 25 years ago, that film. And everyone was talking about it. So that afternoon, I nipped off to the Harlequin in Watford, picked it up on DVD, that newfangled media that was probably not going to overtake VHS anytime soon. Ha ha ha. And I took it home and I watched it. And I was captivated. I was disappointed because at that point I was in my heavy metal is the only music you should appreciate phase. So I was disappointed there was no metal or rock music in it. But that didn't detract me from just enjoying the film. So going to whether would I rewatch that over and over again, or do I watch it if it's on TV? Actually, I do. I do watch it if I see that it's on and I've got nothing else, because I just enjoy that film for what it is. But it's still not the one that I would choose in this case. And then looking down here as well, Star Trek First Contact, 1996, 30 years ago. So I'm hoping we get a 30 years in the cinema for this one. It was the first Star Trek film that was released for my generation. So obviously I grew up watching the Star Trek films with William Shatner and co. And I love them. I genuinely love those films. They're proper boys' adventures. They're really, really good fun. But Star Trek First Contact was something different. I'd grown up watching Star Trek The Next Generation on BBC Two. I'd grown up being scared of the Borg. You think parents were scared of Daleks. I was scared of the Borg. There was a horrible creation they came up with. And to finally have the first feature film blew me away. And in fact, I was really disappointed. I remember, again, being pre-internet at this point, the only time, or only way, I could see Cinema Times was either in the St Albans Review or the Hertfordshire Advertiser. Or if I was lucky, I could find it on teletext. And my cousin had been given permission to meet me at Hatfield because he was coming for a sleepover. So we said, well, let's meet at the Galleria in Hatfield and then let's go and watch Star Trek First Contact because I've just seen it. It's out at the cinema. This is going to be amazing. And I dug out the week before's Hearts advertised from the bin. I looked at the time, yeah, look, it's on. It's these times. And we got to the cinema and we've been a week too late. It wasn't on at all. So I'm massively disappointed by that. But I will always watch that too. Jurassic Park, will never miss it. Wayne's World, will never miss it. Any of the Bill and Ted films, excluding 3, I will always watch it. But same with Die Hard. And that's the problem with this, isn't it? My first place films, I don't think I'd skip any of these. Yesterday, Split, The Arrival, The Martian, all of these I have with the Muppets from 2011. I wouldn't miss these, and if they're on and I'm choosing to watch a film, I'll leave it on. But to have to choose one, it will always be, no matter what, 1995. You already know what I'm going to say. It's Toy Story. I have too many fond memories of watching that at the cinema, at the Auburn Arena with my mum, and just growing up with it, and growing up with the Woody and the Buzz toys selling out everywhere that Christmas. And it's just a lovely film, and it really, really still makes me happy. To this day, even as a 42-year-old, it's still one of my favourite films, and the franchise just keeps getting stronger. Nothing has beaten that first film, but Toy Story 5 was phenomenal. Anyway, that's that question.
Right. Question 3. Something everyone seems to love but you hate. I wrote that without actually having an idea of what I'd answer myself, because, yeah, okay, there's things I hate, but I think the things I hate are things that generally other people hate. But one thing I certainly don't get is reality TV and game shows of that ilk. The obvious ones, Love Island, or, anyways, I do not understand what on earth anyone sees in those whatsoever. Nope, don't get it. I used to watch Big Brother when Nasty Nick was on. So, for those of you, I think our entire audience is old enough to understand what that is. That's about my knowledge of it. I may have seen a couple of episodes of I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. Potentially seen a couple of episodes of that, but maybe, I think, only because someone might have said, oh, you need to watch this because somebody says something outrageous. Strictly Come Dancing, I don't know if I've ever watched an entire episode of that. I've certainly have watched occasional dances on it. What else might I have watched? I can't even think of what they're called. But I can tell you the main one, Traitors. Everyone I seem to know has watched it and loves it, keeps telling me to watch it. And I'm like, what? Why would I want to watch that? No interest at all in watching that. It reminds me of that video game that everyone plays that I've never played, where one of you you're all little aliens or men in spacesuits. Matt, you'll know. You'll know what game I'm talking about. I'm calling on you, Matt, from APOC. Could text me to tell me what the game is. It reminds me of that. Which, fun enough, my boy had a candy floss the other day, which was shaped as one of those things, which I thought was incredible how well it did. And his little friend had a bunny rabbit one. Anyway, that's a side note. Not related to the question. Yeah, that's reality TV shows and, reality game shows is what I'd call Traitors, I suppose. I don't get them. Just, maybe I'd like it if I watched it, but it's just not the kind of thing. Like, when you don't have much time to, if I'm watching something in the evening, I want to watch something like, an example, Reacher. I want to see a big muscly dude getting his kit off in the shower. That's what I want to watch. I don't want to watch people who I don't know being mean to each other.
So, Rob's asked me for something that everyone seems to love, but you hate. Honestly, there's quite a lot I could choose here. The Office, as I said in my questions, if you go back and listen to the Variety Show's last episode, episode 87, I think it was, you'll hear that I very much don't like Ricky Gervais in The Office. Yet, people all around the world will tell you it was one of the greatest comedies of the time, and it still is to this day. And then you had The Office spin-off in the US. And I don't really think much of that either. Yet I love the actors in it. And it's hard to explain why I dislike it. I think really it does come down to the cringe factor in the end, and it makes me cringe far too much. And in previous jobs and you could almost say some current jobs, I guess. I've seen some of the real people that The Office portray as a character, and it does really put me off somewhat. So, yeah, the cringe factor on that one. But I said this was going to be easy, and it really is. It's football. Everybody I come across, whether they actually like watching football or not, seem to have something positive to say about it. And I'm not going to stand on my soapbox and I'm not going to start shouting the odds because that's not what the show's about. It's just meant to be something light-hearted. You're meant to be getting to know me, and I don't want to come across too horrendous. But can I just point out, the word hero should be dedicated to just that. Actual heroes. They should be the army, the fire brigade, the ambulance, the police, the coast guard, the doctors, the nurses, people that genuinely are heroic in what they do. People who save other people from terrorist actions, those sort of things. That's what hero means to me. Yet every time some sort of football tournament comes on, especially when England are involved, the England heroes, and I'm sorry, I really am sorry, but kicking a bag full of air around a football pitch for 90 minutes does not make you a hero. It might make you an idol. It does not make you a hero. And for me, I'm just massively bored by watching it. Now, I need to add a clarifying point here because I could say this about any sport. I could have just said sport as a whole, really, for this. I love playing sports. I love playing football, darts, tennis, badminton, various sports, basketball. I enjoy doing sport. I used to love playing cricket when I used to play with my dad's cricket team. I cannot bear watching it, though. It bores me witless. And then when you add on top that all these sports people get treated like gods and heroes and paid millions and millions of pounds for doing something that, yes, they're skilled at, but really, what real world benefit does it give to our world? I don't see it. And I really struggle with that. And I know that a lot of people get a lot of pleasure out of football and out of sport as a whole. I don't. And it does seem to me that even people I know that don't like football, when the World Cup or the Olympic turns up, suddenly everyone loves it. Wimbledon. Everyone loves these sporting events when they come round. And there's me going, I wish it would just fuck off. I really bloody do. But yeah, that's what it is. That's my something that everyone seems to love, but I genuinely hate.
Number 4. If you had access to a time machine, where would you go? A bit of a cop-out on this one, because I'd want to go really far in the future and really far in the past. I'd like to go really far in the past for the obvious reasons, as long as I was safe. Just look at dinosaurs. I mean, who doesn't want to go look at dinosaurs? I want to see a T-Rex going around. I want to watch some velociraptors going around, and do they really work together like they do in Jurassic Park? I want to see them hunt something, That's what I'd like to see. So that was obvious. But I'd like to go also super far in the future. Not like 50 years or something. I don't want to go just past my death and see what everyone's doing. That's morbid and I don't want to know because I'll be upset by it. I want to go like 1,000 years. Way past anyone who's alive now is in the record books. Super far past. What happened? Are we living like Star Trek? Is it like this utopian future which Star Trek kind of pretends to be, or is it a dystopian like Star Wars? Or is it neither of those? Do mankind just destroy themselves and I just go into the future? It's just a desolate wasteland. Has there been a zombie apocalypse? Is it COVID 2.0 when we're all hiding in our homes? Has AI taken over? I don't just want to go super. And if we have gone to space, where are we? Where have we gone? Have we found other races? You think like in a few thousand, let's say like 50,000 years. That seems ridiculous, but say 50,000 years. That feels like long enough that humans could have spread out, and then those subsets of humans would have no idea that the other humans existed. Do you not think that could happen? Let's say, R. Hayward is an author that I quite like. He does these undead books and these other things, and he does this one called The World Ship Humility. A asteroid is coming to destroy the planet. When it hits the planet, the Earth's gone, blows up, completely destroyed. So they build these world ships. I can't remember, maybe there's 6. There's a load of them anyway, to hold people to go off into space to find somewhere else. And they go around, they fly off through space. And I thought it'd be interesting what if that split off in 2? It went to a certain distance. Like these ships in the world ship, they've been flying for generations. Like there's people who have had generations of only ever being on that ship, never knowing what it's like to be on a planet. They're only on this ship. If those ships then split off, one decided to go this way and one decided to go that way, and then more generations passed, things get lost through time. They both find somewhere to land, blah 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 blah. More generations go past, and then they meet. Do they think they're aliens? They think, oh my god. Or would they think, oh yeah, that's those humans from this other ship? Anyway, that's a side note. But what's the question? Oh yeah, time travel. Yeah, distant future I think seems more interesting. I wouldn't want to go like a little bit to the past. Let's go and have a look at, I don't know, some battle or some, the first flight and all that kind of stuff. We want to go back and see that. I want to go to the far distant future.
If you had access to a time machine, where would you go? Great question. But there's lots of caveats you haven't filled in. So I'm going to fill in what I think you mean. I think you mean if I had a time machine and could go back to wherever or whenever I wanted, but couldn't go back and make changes that would affect the time now, what would I do? Because obviously anyone who has a time machine would go back and stop terrible things from happening. And we just know that doesn't work. And whatever you believe, whether you believe in string theory, timey-wimey, floaty-woaty, wobbly-dobbly things, all of those sort of things, you've got to understand that time travel, albeit theoretical, probably will never exist. And if it did, we'd have to abide by rules that would never really affect us, because whatever we go back and do probably won't affect our current time. It will create its own universe and off it goes. That's what I think. So, knowing that, what would I do? What would I go back to if I knew I wasn't allowed to make any changes? I could just go back. And I'm going to be a real geek. I'm going to be a real loser about this, because I know I could go back. I could go and see dinosaurs, which is very cool. I could go back and see the world when it first began. I could go forward and see when the world ends. I would, bearing in mind, because this isn't changing anything, I would get a digital camera that looks as close to an old-fashioned normal film camera that I could, and I would travel back to the early to mid 1990s, just so I could go around St Albans, around Watford, around Hemel Hempstead, and get pictures of the place that I grew up in, the place that I really only have memories of now, because so much of those areas have gone now. There's nothing really that remains. Woolworths is gone, Safeway is gone, Software Plus, The Maltings, Quasar Laser. All of these things are gone, and I'll never see them again, except for in my mind. And that does make me a little bit sad, because I think when you look back at history and you see that during the Victorian times and the early 1900s, people took photos of everything. and they turned them into postcards and they became published. And you can look back and you can find pictures of the St. Albans area dating back to the time of photography began, but not the 90s. You can get really basic photos of some areas, but there's nothing of where I grew up, really, in time and space. And I think that's what I would do. I would genuinely go back just to take photos. Now, if you're telling me I could go back and I would be my younger self, again, sorry for being depressing, but I would go back and I'd make sure I get photos of myself with the people I love, because all through my childhood, I was the arsehole. I know I don't want my photo taken. Don't want my photo taken. And one of my friends I've lost, as I'm sure I've spoken about on the show, and there's a lot of friends that have gone on through the years and disappeared from my life, and I have no photographic record of any of it. And genuinely, that makes me sad. And I think if I go back and I become that age, whatever this time machine is, I would go back and I'd push myself harder at school. I'd make sure I got photos of myself with my friends, because I feel that's genuinely the sort of important stuff I need to do. Not change the world for someone else's universe to live through, but just to get photos and memories that just aren't something that's embedded in my brain, but something I can physically hold and look at. That's what I'd do. And yeah, I'd go back to the 80s when I was born, the 80s when I was really little. I'd go back to the 90s. I'd come back to Constantine in the early 90s when I visited my grandparents. Oh God, I'd love to get more pictures of my grandparents with me, knowing this sort of thing. My parents growing up. There's so much I would do that doesn't involve having to change anything. So yeah, there you go, Rob. I would be rather boring, but I would go back to the 90s.
Right, question 5. If you could live in any fictional universe, what would you choose? Again, I've got 2 for this. I think for me, anyone who knows me, anyone who's ever listened to any of our shows would know I'd say Star Trek, because yeah, why wouldn't you want to live in that? Okay, there's bad things going on, but only if you're in the fucking Enterprise, only if you're going around on a spaceship. If I'm in San Francisco, where Starfleet is, you're fucking living the dream, surely. Like, okay, a couple of times it's been exploded, but hasn't anywhere. You know, you could live on Earth. I mean, I'd want to be flying around, but you could live on Earth and you have everything. There's no money. Like, you've got replicators. You just find things you enjoy, do things that bring you fulfillment and joy in your everyday life. You're not working unless you want to work. That's the idea I'm getting from Star Trek. You don't have to do anything if you don't want to. Fucking, it's the super duper far future. The only time you've got to do anything is if you want to buy some of fucking Picard's wine. You know, I don't know what era in Star Trek I'd want to be. Certainly not Discovery's era. Jesus Christ. But I think as long as I didn't have an impending doom of the Borg coming at me, I think I'd be pretty fucking happy. You know, like right at the beginning, maybe like the Kirk era, where it's like no one's coming to Earth to destroy it. No, that's the lie. The Borg come back in time. Fucking hell, the Borg ruin everything, don't they? The other one's Pokemon. Just when you really get down to the nitty-gritty of Pokemon, it's about capturing wild animals and forcing them to fight against their will. And then stealing money off 10-year-old children who you just battled in the wilderness. You know, like these guys are like handing over 120, I don't know if it's yen. I don't know what the symbol is in Pokemon when you win a battle, but you get a lot of fucking money. Like, you beat the shit out of somebody with your, like, you've got a Charizard, a ginormous 10-foot dragon, and then you stumble upon this bug catcher who has like 2 Caterpies at level 5, and you fucking incinerate them, and then the poor little shitbag's got to give you like 100 yen. You're like, fuck off, mate. Like, how good would that be? I think that'd be brilliant. But yeah, as I was kind of alluding to, the actual concept of trapping wild animals into what is a Pokeball? You like to envision it as like some kind of TARDIS, you know, some other dimension, and inside it is like their perfect environment. But in reality, that you're like, it's like a transporter buffer. It probably is like sticking someone in a transporter buffer, and for them, it's like a blink. So every moment of that Pokemon's existence is battle, 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 beating the shit out of, dead, or rather fainted. Suddenly you blink, and you're fully healed, and you have another insane creature in front of you, a ghost that puts you to sleep and sucks your dreams out of you and kills you. Oh, I'm asleep. Oh, I'll wake up. Oh, now I'm getting constricted by a giant python. Oh, I'm asleep. Oh, now I'm awake. Oh, now I'm getting electrocuted by a little mouse calling thunderbolts from the sky. For the Pokemon, that'd be pretty bad. But for me, it'd be pretty cool.
Right, the final question. If you could live in any fictional universe, what would you choose? Again, brilliant question, and I think most people who know me will probably say, well, it's quite obvious, isn't it? He's going to go and live in Star Trek. And yeah, you're probably right, because at this point, there aren't many things that I follow that have this giant universe to follow. Star Trek is the only thing I really watch that I think has this giant expanded universe that has any kind of bricks built to it. I never got into Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, really. I never got into Game of Thrones or stuff like that. I was never into Breaking Bad. Quite like the Reacher thing, and I know that Neely's got their own series coming out, which is going to be rather fun. There aren't many things that I would say have a decent universe. What would I do? Go back to John McClane's universe in Die Hard? I mean, Star Trek's probably the thing that I know the best, and it certainly is still my safe space, even to this day. If I need mental cool down, relaxation, something that a safety blanket, let's call it what it is, a safety blanket, I will put Star Trek of some sort on, because I know what it is, I know what's coming, and it makes me happy. So why on earth wouldn't I want to go to that universe? And yeah, okay, I've already said, the Borg scared me as a kid. They're a terrifying race. But if we look at the ideals and how Star Trek is and what Star Trek has and the future as it is in the Star Trek films, I'd be happy to be there. Everyone has a job, everyone has home, everyone has food, electricity, you can have families. A unified Earth sounds rather nice right now, especially with all the shit going on. So, yeah, Star Trek. And is there anything else? Well, definitely not the Alien universe. Let's be straight up about that. That would scare the shit out of me. Not the Terminator universe either, because again, scares the shit out of me. Genuinely, think about it, okay? There's that question, what would you do if there was a snail following you and that snail, with one touch, will kill you? You've got unlimited money, and as long as you never touch that snail, you've got unlimited money. What would you do? But the snail will keep coming. And that's exactly what I feel about Terminator. And that's why I think it's always made it such a creepy, dark film. That initial Terminator, T-800, or no, T-100, isn't it? It doesn't stop. It just keeps coming. And that's terrifying. No matter how far I run, this thing's just going to keep coming by me, slowly but surely. That's a horrible, horrible idea. Is there any other universes? I mean, some of the gaming universes, I guess, but again, Helldivers 2, no thank you. The GTA world is a little close to the real world, so why would I just change to that? Yeah, I think Rob will most likely predict what I've said here, and he's right. I went with Star Trek. Right. That is all the questions answered. I reckon I've been about 5 minutes for each of those, so Rob, love you as always, buddy, and I will see you very soon. Take it easy and bye-bye. Mwah.
Command functions are offline.
That's it. Have I done about as much as I did last time? Hopefully the audio from my part is a lot better. But thank you for listening, and I look forward to hearing what Tom's answers are. And I should probably have got my notes up for this show. Why don't I do that? So, yeah, the next Untitled Sci-Fi Show is going to be one of Tom's monkey films, Planets of the Apes from 1968. It's on Disney Plus. So if you have Disney Plus, you can watch it on there. Otherwise, I suggest you go and download it from you know where. Because fuck them. You can find... I'm terrible at this. You can find everything about Tom and I and all the other Studio Channel 84 shows over on channel84.co.uk. Those other studio shows are, oh my god, my brain is not working. Lightly Used with Karen Adam, Who Takes Her Socks Off with Ross and Simon. Pocket Knockers from John and Mike. You can find Leighton J over on YouTube. I think it's Leighton J. I think that is it. Sorry, Leighton, if I get that wrong. Email us, podcasts, channel84.co.uk. Check if you're just hearing this one first. Don't forget, go check out the other episode of Other 5 Questions with my terrible audio over on The Variety Show with Tom and Rob, getting the name right. And that's it. And I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Hopefully get some more YouTube stuff out. Go check out the Eclipse live stream that TJ did over on Tom Robbins' studio. It's really good. Anyway, thanks for listening. Love you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Untitled Sci-Fi Show. This station is now shutting down and will be back in 2 weeks. May the Force live long and prosper inside of you. This was a Studio Channel 84 network show. To find more, head over to channel84.co.uk now.